Okay, so the Web 2.0 tool that I've decided to talk about today is called Timetoast. And Timetoast is actually a tool that you can use to create and share timelines on the web. You can borrow somebody else's to use in the classroom, or you can create your own. There, you can do a historical timeline, a personal timeline. You can utilize it in language arts curriculum to make a timeline of a story and the events that happened within the story. This can be utilized across multiple subject areas, regardless of what you teach, and it can be used in grades K through 12. It's just that the level of independence will vary depending on the age of the children that you're teaching. So I'm going to start off with when you look, so if you decide to use somebody else's and you want to borrow one, so you can browse timelines if you click on that. And right now my internet is not working. Okay, so you can see here that there's different categories that you can use to find a timeline, or you can also search using the search option at the top. I know that I would probably use the search option at the top because the categories are very limited, and the only other one is the uncategorized category, and that basically throws every timeline that they don't doesn't fit in a category. So if you go up to the top, you can search. I have done searches already, as you can see, on multiple subject areas, but I'm just going to focus on authors. So I click on authors and search. You can see my search results are going to come up with a bunch of different timelines. So you can click on, for this purpose, I'm going to use authors of the 18th and 19th century. So if I click on that, then my timeline is going to pop up. So when the timeline pops up, the first thing you're going to see is the time span, and that's going across the bottom. So if you can see here, this time span goes from 1700s to the 1900s. And then you're going to see these little blue dots, and I think this is one of my favorite parts, is that it's not cluttered and it doesn't have a cluttered ass look to it. It's confined to these dots. So if you want to see what comes first, you look to the first dot, and then a pop-up will appear and you can see what the first thing in the timeline is. So if I'm looking at the first dot, I can see here that it's Benjamin Franklin on December 5th, 1706. And then if I want to know more about that, you can go to the little plus sign, and if you click on the plus sign, it will expand it and give you more information about Benjamin Franklin. Now, I can X out. And then I go to the next dot, I can see the next person. I go up here, it's Elizabeth Ashbridge, October 4th, 1713. Again, click on the plus sign, and you can see a little more information about her. So you don't feel like the whole timeline is so cluttered with information because it expands and then you can close out. You can see here the amount of information that you decide to put into the timeline is obviously up to you. This person put about 10 pieces to their timeline. You could have more, have less. It just depends on what you want to do with the site. You can see here there's different options. You can expand it to a bigger screen or full screen, as well as, and I think this is another one of my favorite parts of the site, is you can choose to look at it in timeline view, but you can also look at it in text view. So if I click on this and put it in text view, then it just has the events from the beginning to the end, and you can scroll down and see every author from the earliest, 1700, all the way down to the latest, which is Mark Twain. And it has the descriptions on the side. You can also print, but you can only print in the text view format, which I think was one of the cons in my books, because I would like to print in timeline form just so my students can see it the way a timeline looks. but still this is a good way to get information out to the students if you wanted to make a handout. So that's a quick look at an already created timeline. The next thing I want to show you is, if you look at the bottom, you can also search by popular timelines, updated timelines, or latest timelines in case you're looking just for something recent. And then I think the coolest part about the site is that you can actually create your own timeline. And I've had my students use this program before. And if I go to my timelines, I don't have anything on my personal account, but if I go to timelines, I've started one for you. And you can see here that I can choose to add a new timeline, or I can work on the one that I've drafted. So if I click on this, and I spelled something wrong, I can see here that I went away to a wedding this weekend, so I started making a wedding weekend timeline. So I'm going to edit my timeline. And the first thing I want to do, if you're going to create your own, you can have the heading, which I'm going to edit my title since I spelled something wrong. So you're going to want to have a title, and I think one of the cooler features is that you can also put a photo in it to associate with the title, as well as each part of the timeline as well. So here I picked a photo, just a general photo, and I just uploaded it from the internet and then put it in my album, and then so I could add it. And then you can pick category, which I would put it in probably I think personal, and then I can update it. And then you can just when I put a time span in, so I did it from June 28th to June 30th. And once you have your time span in, so all you would have to do is add time span, and it's that easy. Just put your start and end date, and you can put a description if you would like, and a title. And I did that already. And then you can just start adding the parts of your timeline in. So you can see here I just started at the very beginning, and I added my first event. And my first event was just arrival, so you can click on it here. And you can see I put my title, which was the arrival at the Hyatt. I put the date, and then I put a little description and chose an image. Again, I just picked one that was in my library. The only thing I didn't like about this site, one of the downfalls, you couldn't add a time, like below the date, which I think that would have been cool. But so instead, I put a time in my description. So once I created my event, then it will pop up here. And then again, if I wanted to see it, I would click on the plus sign, and the description would pop up once it's out of draft form. So then if I want to add an event, I can just click add. So then I could put manicure, since that was the next event. Again, I would make sure the date's correct. So I'd put that same day. And then I could just put girls' day at the spa. And if I wanted to put a time, I'm going to put 2 o'clock, just so for my benefit. And then I can choose an image. So you can see here, since it's not in my little library, I can go to upload an image. And then I can just go through my pictures. And I go to manicure, open it. Now I have it, and no, you can't see it right now, but it is there. It's just not fully processed yet. So I click on that. Then I put done. And then I can have my created event. Okay, so since they're on the same day, you can see here they just go underneath each other. That's why I wish they kind of had the time span, so they would go across this way as it got later in the day. So, but then I would keep on going and put events throughout the whole weekend, and then when I'm finished, I could go to view this timeline. You can see it, and I could put it in text view as well, right here. And when you're all done, you can actually publish it, and then that's the only way it will be available for others to view. So overall, I think this is a great site, and I definitely have used it with my students in the past, and I would encourage you to use it with your students in the future. It's very kid-friendly, it's easy to maneuver and to create timelines, and it's just a different way at looking at a timeline rather than just seeing it in paper and pencil format. So I hope that you use this program in the future and enjoy Timetoast. Thanks.